give up on your legal status. Many people fail to respond to RFE or file an application before the deadline. This is why we offer a strategy session for 15 minutes at no cost to you. Not everyone qualifies. First, you need to speak with our CARES team. We receive many requests, so we recommend you answer a few questions on our website, greencardguys.com. Our mission is to help people live and work in America legally. Go ahead and subscribe below and follow and share. Talk to you soon. What's going on? Welcome. Happy Wednesday. Today we're going to talk about the employment-based sponsorship in terms of red flags, things you should avoid. Friends, my name is John Ting. I practice immigration law in the United States of America, here locally in Houston, Texas, helping you solve your immigration problem and maybe even prevent the problem from happening in the first place. All right, so before we get down to some tips, I'm happy to answer any questions on this live show. You're welcome to drop it in the comment section or just share your experience. We love learning about your experience. A lot of people love to share, especially if you've been stuck for a long time and finally got some positive news. All right. So today, as always on Wednesdays, I try my best to go on. Thank you so much, Mr. Singh. Thank you so much. Best attorney in Houston. Thanks for that comment. Tony, happy Wednesday. Good to see you. All right. So every Wednesday, I love to share tips about employer base because a lot of people are like, how do I even get sponsored? And when that happens, that means you don't have a family member to sponsor you and you're not married to someone, because I know finding the right match is very difficult. Right. And, even though there's all these dating websites, apps, whatever, sometimes the best way is through a company or maybe even something called national interest waiver where you can self-petition yourself, right? Unfortunately, not everyone is qualified for the national interest waiver. It's a much higher standard, and some people have filed their own application and have talked to us after, maybe when they get an RFE, notice of intent to deny, or maybe even got denied already, and they're wondering why did that happen. So some things that we do internally as a legal team, we look at the government websites to see the cases that have been appealed to the Administrative Appeals Office to see the reasons why people have been denied for something like, for almost any case type. It's pretty amazing, the information that's out there. So we use that for your benefit, okay? That's why I'm able to go live show to share these things so you're aware of it. Because I don't get any joy out of situation that you apply for immigration benefit in the United States and then you get denied, right? That's something that with the data that's available, you should have known, right? Or, of course, that we can help guide you with that information. So that's absolutely why we're here on the live show, because some of y'all don't have access to that information. So I can't go through every single scenario here, but I can share at least. It's December 6th, okay? March is the first 2 weeks of March is the H-1B registration. Yes, it actually is a registration, right? You don't have to file the whole package like it was like 5+ years ago and spend all that money for an attorney. We do it differently now because as a registration first 2 weeks of March, we don't have to file every single form, provide all the evidence. Not in the beginning. You first want to register, okay? The thing is, it's only by default one time a year, okay, folks, unless you qualify for an exemption, which very few people do, where you can apply any time of year. So here's the thing. If you have a company, maybe not right now, but maybe in a couple months, by the time you get to March, you want to try to get sponsored, okay? Don't like waste your time or HR or like, let's say a much smaller company that don't really have HR. Don't waste the time. Let them know. Hopefully you got good vibes in an interview, but I really think it's best to let them know in the first interview. I could be wrong, but look, when I'm hiring, I would rather know all the steps I have to do for you, because let's say like, if it was our company and this wasn't immigration, right, law firm, I like send an offer and then we get an email saying, oh, by the way, I need to get sponsored. And then I got to spend time to find an immigration lawyer that can tell me everything I need to know, which some lawyers don't tell you everything you need to know. And then finally get an appointment with an immigration attorney, and then, oh, deadline passed, registration passed. So don't waste your time, because it's not in the best interest of anyone, really. Okay, so consider that. All right, hopefully you got good vibes in the first meeting interview where you can let them know in advance. All right, it's a win-win for everyone. Okay, so that was the first tip. Second tip, all right, is that if you're applying for H-1B, right, or to get registered, you don't actually have to have graduated. All right, so let's say it's March 2024 for the registration period. You have to have graduated by May 2024, but you don't have to have graduated before the registration period. Okay, so a key thing. Or you could have been on OPT for a year, like that's a 1 year, depending on the number, the STEM or not, but at least a 1 year temporary work permit after graduation. You could still be on OPT and get registered for H-1B. So that's something that HR and business owners need to know, and also the applicant, because you might think like you might be discouraged from applying because you think, oh, like I need to have graduated already. So the deadline, the reason why is because the deadline to file the entire package is the end of June. Okay, so if you registration March 2024, you get selected at the end of March 2024, then a package of all the evidence and forms have to be submitted by the end of June 2024. All right, so hopefully that context helps you. The third tip here, all right, top 3 tips, folks, and I'm happy to answer any questions after, is that if you're getting sponsored for residency, PERM, some people call it PERM, that's just one step of the process. I just like to call it residency because it's just what you're going to get if you get approved all the way. So for employment-based residency, EB for short, the company that sponsors you is typically the company that you've been working for, right? With H-1B or some other visa. So with that being said, you're going to get in a little pickle here. And this thing is the 50% rule, okay, for short. Your work experience. Let's say that position that you would be promoted to or upgraded to requires 2 years experience. But if you have worked for that company that qualifies, the experience qualifies for that position is more than 50%, and that experience is from that same company that's sponsoring you, you won't get approved. You will be denied. And unfortunately for EB, it pretty much, aside from visa bulletin issues, if you're not from China, India, Mexico, and Philippines, it's going to be a much shorter time frame. Let's just say average 2 years. You're going to get all the way down to the end of the case, and then at the I-140 stage, USCIS will say, oh, we're going to deny you. So that's why it's very important to have an attorney that can show the big picture of all the red flags, concerns, so that you don't go in a situation. In fact, sometimes we recommend people to look for another company, because you don't actually have to work for that company to get sponsored by that company for EB. You don't have to be on payroll. So I know it sounds strange, but you could be a prospective applicant employee, and maybe that company just trusts you enough to the extent that they're going to sponsor you, but you don't have to be working for them. So there's the same tip for people if you're an HR or you have your own business. Same tip for you. You don't actually have to have that future applicant employee on payroll at the time that you sponsor. All right, so those are the top 3 hot tips. Hopefully that's helpful to you. If you have any questions about that, welcome to drop it in the comment section or chat box. And otherwise, if it's about something else, you're welcome to ask. And if you're tuning in for a first time, welcome to the show. The best way to contact us, we do offer a strategy session for no cost to you for 15 minutes. Of course, if you already talked to us and utilized it, it might cost you some money in the future, because we do have very limited spots for the strategy sessions at no cost. All right, so it's just a couple of days a week. So you can call our number right up here on LinkedIn. You can see on LinkedIn, Facebook, and YouTube, and our website right here to answer a few questions. Otherwise, if you're on Instagram or TikTok, you can go to greencardguys.com and click on contact us. All right, so I'm going to hop off of LinkedIn here and see if that works correctly. All right, all right. Let me answer some questions. Welcome to the show. What's up? What's up? Luis on TikTok, how do you give your parents the 245 without going to military? You're currently a U.S. resident. So 245I is separate from the military parole in place, if you're referring to that. So that's very kind of you to think about that. But yeah, not everyone wants to go into military. I thought about it many years ago. But it's a tough decision when you have a family. So 245I is if you're, let's say, a person, let's say Luis's parents had a petition filed on their behalf, let's say like a sibling, before April 30th, 2001. So I know it's 22 years ago. This is grandfathered in by law by President Bill Clinton. So that's one of the few positive things that he did for immigration. Okay, so you also want an attorney that knows the history of immigration as far back as possible. Like I don't know so much about from the 50s, but I know from the 90s and onwards. Okay, because laws have been created. It's been a long time, right? A long time since a new law has been created for immigration wise, and we're still waiting 20 plus years for reform. But anyway, 245 YI is a petition, old petition filed for someone before April 30th, 2001. This also goes along with, it doesn't have to be family-based petition, which if it was, is typically a sibling because those cases take forever. And then, but it can be a labor certification, a process which is different before. So people are able to file it much sooner. All right. So let me know, Luis, if that fits your parent situation. ProBeam, thoughts on AOS for future wife from Mexico if she comes to US to visit and stay. ProBeam, you have to be a US citizen. So just want to make sure we're clear on that. If you're a resident and you're not anywhere near to be able to be eligible to apply for citizenship, then I recommend not overstaying. In general, I can't tell someone, as you know, I can't tell someone to overstay or not, but I can tell you what the law is. I can tell you our experience. So that is, many of our clients have overstayed their visa. All right. So the tip here is that you said future wife. So good. You're not married yet. Your wife needs to apply for a visitor visa first before you get married, because after you get married, it's pretty much a knockout thing. She's gonna get denied for visitor visa if you're already married. Of course, because they're going to assume someone's going to overstay. All right. Oh, good. She's got it. Okay. Glad she's got it, and make sure it's valid. All right. And hopefully that helps out. Hey, thanks y'all for joining, following me as a live creator. I guess that's what they call it. So if you haven't done that so far, TikTok, you could do it up here, and Instagram, I think you do it down below somewhere. Anyway, hopefully that answers your question. All right, welcome to the show. Hey, Jack. EB5 is a very in-depth situation. We actually charge consultation fee for that for a pretty good dollar. So if you want to know about that, I mean, there's no point in me going through it if that's not what you're intending to apply for. But yeah, happy to chat about it. But that cost definitely costs some money for a strategy session. All righty. Iseline, I think is how I pronounce your name. You filed the I-134A and you have not received anything. Yeah, unfortunately, there is no timetable for that. It's a discretionary application. Not everyone has to be approved for or selected for the humanitarian parole. I believe is what you're referring to. And so, yeah, I mean, I know people that have been waiting a year plus. I know people who were selected after like 1 month or 2 months. So yeah, it's super frustrating. So I think it's completely random in my opinion. Can an F1 student apply for asylum within 1 year? I mean, they can apply. Yeah, I mean, K1, F1 student can apply anytime for asylum, but it certainly has to be within 1 year, either 1 year of entry or 1 year of when the visa expires. Okay. Okay, let's see here. Sammy, is it okay to submit I-130 if your spouse and you don't live together? He's in reserves and undocumented. Well, thank you for his service. Well, you want to be, you can, but you want to, when you say reserves, so he has to be in a specific location then? Oh, you're undocumented. Okay. Um, yeah, especially if, he's at a base, right? Or training or on duty or something like that, then of course that's a very reasonable situation to file the I-130 separately. Okay, so you say you're undocumented, so it sounds like you did not enter America with a visa. But if you did not enter with a visa, then you need to be ready for a waiver. But to answer your question directly, yes, you can file the petition when you're not living together, not the same address, because in your situation, you do have a reasonable situation. Not everyone has a reasonable situation. Like, look, if someone's living in like Dallas, another person living in Arlington, I mean, look, if you live in either of those cities, it's like at least a 30-minute drive. So it's not too far, but I know folks, I used to live in Dallas, so I know that um, it's far enough, but USCIS will see like that's a little strange. Like, why is someone in Fort Worth or one's in Carrollton and one's in Dallas? Like, that's close enough. So hopefully that helps. But it was like something like Dallas and Austin. It's a little farther enough. And usually, especially military bases, they're very specific places, right? Obviously. So, all right. Let's see. Emily on YouTube. Can I talk about H-1B renewal stamping inside the U.S. start in 2024? Okay, it's a pilot program, so it's very new. As far as I understand, it's only for folks that, of course, already have the H-1B visa for the, let's say, first time or second time, but not for like if someone gets approved this year. I mean, in 2024, I don't believe first timers can access this inside the United States. Okay. Hopefully that helps. If the employer is okay with the employee working from their home country. Oh, that's your second question. Can someone on H-1B stay outside of the country for 3 or 4 years while remaining on payroll? As far as I know, yeah. I mean, you just have to change. That kind of defeats the purpose of H-1B, but the benefit of that person is possibly something called recapture time. But the person doesn't even have to be working for that company if they have to be abroad, which would save time on their H-1B duration as well. But yeah, I'm guessing the assumption is that the company actually does want that person to work even if they're out. Yeah, it could still be on payroll. But the thing is, like, there has to be a filed amendment to the H-1B petition because of the workplace location. So you might get a little sticky on that part. But happy to talk in more in depth for whoever you're referring to. That person can contact us. We could do more research on that. All right, let's see. Jack, yeah, that's no longer $1 million anymore, or half a million for EB5. The investor investment minimum increased. So yeah, it's not half a million anymore. It's way more. They definitely considered inflation this time. You are a visa holder. Okay, on TikTok now. You apply for a green card. How long does it take? 485 based on U visa does take. They definitely not shortcut. Like, there's not expedited, unfortunately. 485 in general no matter how you were eligible for it in the first place. Generally, it's there. Not generally. There is no expedite request available for that, and that's going to take at least 1 year. Okay, at least 12 months. Okay. What is Antoinette on YouTube. What is our experience with Milwaukee FO? Are they slow, fast, good, or bad? Well, the thing is, even if I had a case happen there recently, it could change now, right? So let's take a look. Let's hop into the USCIS processing time. Maybe you've already looked at it. Did you file the 485 application, or what you talking about? I'm assuming 485. Is this based on a spouse or a different family member? Okay, it's taking a bit to load up. In the meantime, all right, let's go to TikTok. All right, you're scheduled for a master hearing in court this January, but you have no judge assigned. Don't worry, you're going to have a judge assigned. So even if typically it will be assigned, it will definitely be assigned. So you might not know until then, and but you can look online. The EOIR, if you just type in Google search EOIR automated system, I believe, you type in your alien number, a number, 8 or 9 digits, and it will show up. I recommend doing that every week because until you get your hearing, because it's December 6th now. You never know. They think things could change. They could schedule earlier or schedule even later after January. But good luck, Junior Visette. Let's see. Okay, processing time. Let me share my screen here. Okay, Antoinette, you say spouse AOS. Thank you for that information. Okay, so here we go. I don't know why it looks like that. So if you haven't done this before, folks, I'm pretty sure I have a video on TikTok, all these different platforms on how to check your processing times, even though I think it's just a webmaster that changes it whenever they want. Okay, family base, you can't see it on the screen here, but there's a drop-down menu, and you said Milwaukee. Okay, let's go down. There we go. Get processing time here. And they say 80% of cases, they always say 80%, are completed within 14 months. Okay. So you can, if you scroll all the way down, you can enter your receipt date. If you tell me now, then I can tell you if if you can submit inquiry. So the reason why they have this, by the way, folks, it says get inquiry date, is because they don't want you to call in or submit inquiry too early. Because essentially, for their government perspective, they're like, if you just filed your case 2 months ago and it's a 485 application, like, don't waste our time. Essentially, don't just ask us. Otherwise, they're just going to give you the generic response that your case is still processing within normal processing time. So it's like, what's the point for other side, right? But for other applications like a waiver, 601A, that is super ridiculous. Okay, but anyway, I'll leave this up in case Antoinette tells me when she filed it. I'll get real time answer on that one. Alec Ma on TikTok. What advice do I recommend for strong bona fide marriage case you received annoyed? Oh, well, sorry you're going through that, but the good thing about annoyed is that typically they tell you exactly what they're concerned about. Sometimes people that get annoyed for a marriage case is not actually about their marriage case, the current marriage. It could be about a prior marriage, whether it was fake or real. So, but if you're asking specific about your current marriage, I mean, the best thing is joint bank account. Some people are very adamant, not knowing about your situation, but some people are very adamant not to have a joint bank account together. USCIS is not saying you have to give every bank account, so you can still maintain your own account where it's only you as a signer of that account, but you need to really have at least one account together, okay? And if for some reason you don't have one regular checking account together, maybe a savings account, maybe a credit card together, or as like your spouse is an authorized user, like, just that's how we try to think outside the box, because the point is they want to see that you're commingling money. So worst case scenario, we can say, hey, you're commingling debt, if anything. Worst case scenario. So think about that. Of course, I have a much longer checklist that we have outside the box. That's not part of the normal I like 485 checklist online. Okay, let's see. Cutie Pie, welcome back. If you don't get green card through U.S. citizen marriage, then what are other ways? Well, are you meaning that you have something on file now, or you don't have a spouse right now, or fiance? But Cutie Pie, that's one of those scenarios that like there is a long list. Well, there's still limited options in America, but there's still a long list for the purpose of TikTok show or the live show in general, Green Card Guys show. So, but yeah, well, let's contact us and our team can walk you through our cares team. So, by the way, folks, we do offer a strategy session for 15 minutes at no cost to you. All right. But not everyone is qualified. And then when you call in, our cares team specialists, they're not attorneys. Okay. Please keep that in mind. They're not attorneys, but they can still walk you through to give you an idea because that helps them understand if you could be qualified for a strategy session with us at no cost to you. Now, there are some situations where you might not qualify for a strategy session, but typically we do have what we call like free guides, informational guides that answers to common questions and scenarios, estimate step-by-step. All right, so check that out they're also on our website, but we have more guides, not just on our website. So if you're seeing here on YouTube, you can see right here, one of our more popular guides is about mandamus, filing a lawsuit. We have other ones here that you can see right here that about investor, family-based, employment. Okay, so let's see here. You on TikTok, you just sent a medical RFE. What will happen next? I just missed that last part. If you got an RFE on medical and it actually asked you to, okay, great. I-130 is approved. So you're almost there. You're almost there. If they send you a medical RFE, that is a really good inclination that your case the interview will be waived. Okay. So that's the intent, because before the pandemic, before 2022, they would normally send a courtesy request for medical, meaning don't send it in, but bring it to the interview. So that's a main difference between the last couple of years. So yeah, hopefully that works out for you. Good luck. And yes, it is normal to receive the approval notice for I-130, but not the 485, because maybe they're waiting on the medical or something else. All right. So hopefully that helps out. All right. Dango, if I'm sorry for mispronouncing anyone's name. On Instagram, you have a removal order, you have TPS status. Can you get your removal order dismissed? You can certainly try, but typically what they want to see is if you have eligibility to get residency. Okay, if you have a sponsor. So, or maybe you have a sponsor, but even if you need to apply for a waiver, that's the ultimate thing, is to see that you have a sponsor ready to sponsor you. Okay, so but when we do something like that to get cases removed or dismissed, vacated, removal order vacated, you have to have the petition on file. Okay, something. So if it's employment based, you need to have something before the petition on file. All right, you can't just say like, we're thinking about getting sponsored. Like it can't be future thinking like that. You have to have something concrete that the judge will want to see in the U.S. The government attorney, the DHS. My Moss Lux, your I-130 485 has been pending in Virginia for 16 months. An inquiry has been sent, but still nothing. What should you do? Okay, so let's check out which city is that? Falls Church. Let's see. Virginia. I can't remember what city would show up for Virginia. Norfolk. I see Norfolk. There's no Falls Church for that. Okay, let me just put in Norfolk for now. I'm surprised there's only one that I saw. Okay. Interesting. I did not know this before. 80% cases in Norfolk field office for Virginia is taking 21 months. 21 months. Yours says 16 months. So this is an example, folks, that the U.S. attorneys will say when we sue, they'll file a motion to dismiss. Some of y'all are very, very fortunate that you don't, when we file a lawsuit, you don't have to experience a motion to dismiss. This is a situation where U.S. attorney will say, you have your situation, your time period of waiting is not unreasonable enough. So they're going to file a motion to dismiss. And usually they will look at this chart, right, that I just shared with you on the screen, and they'll share in their brief or their motion saying, well, this plaintiff applicant has not waited longer than the timetable. But we all know what that really means. It's bullshit. It's BS. You don't have to, just because it shows 21 months on the processing timetable does not mean it has to exceed that. Or even for waiver cases, 601A waiver, it shows 44 months. Last time I checked, let me go click on it right now. 601A. Let me pick a. Oh, that's interesting. Okay, it's a little glitch here. But you don't have to wait, let's say for waiver cases, you should not have to wait 44 months. Interesting. Yeah, it still shows 44 months. So you can see here, I clicked on 601A, and before it would actually list all the different service centers that handle it, like Nebraska, and I think the Hart Center, the new one. But now it just says all because they're tired of messing with it, it seems like. So it's 44 months across the board. So it's been showing 44 months for like the last 4 months at least. So I call bullshit on that. That's my short version of response to the court. But of course, I gotta put legal language in that, right? So we call them out. Like usually the cases that the U.S. attorney references about in their motion to dismiss has nothing to do, not related to the actual, like similar to your case, right? So it's frustrating, very frustrating, but it's good for us because I can highlight to the judge, look, this U.S. attorney is using a case that's not even relevant. So that's our goal. If any U.S. attorney is listening, let's talk, okay? Let's work together on this. All right. U.S. citizen, what do you need to bring your stepson from Mexico? Okay, first, you're a U.S. citizen, great. Your stepson, first thing to make sure is that you got married to your stepson's other parent before he turned 18, okay? So there's two like ages that trigger here is that the marriage had to happen before 18 years old of your stepson, and then to establish that relationship for the I-130 petition. But when you want to sponsor your stepson for a green card, it has to be when he's under 18 years old. Under 21 years old. So some people get a little stuck in a situation like, oh, shoot, because that qualifies as immediate relative when your stepson is under 21. When your stepson becomes over 21, then it's family preference and it takes much longer. So don't wait, folks. If you're ever like 20 years old, call us. We're going to prioritize your case over someone else's. So especially if you pick our max plan, okay? So hopefully that helps out. Which, by the way, folks, we do offer 3 different plans: Light, Pro, Max. There's several differences, but the key difference is timing to file your application, your package, okay, your forms and evidence. All right. So Max plan, of course, faster service. If it's family-based case, we file your case in 30 days of hire. Now, of course, it requires teamwork. So if you need translations, and depending on language, we may or may not have a service available. So we have a list of vendors, right? So, but you can't come to us like 29th day and then say, oh, shoot, I need translations done. Like, so we can't meet our own internal goal, right? We're not going to like charge you more money for it, but you can't ask us for like a reduced rate if it was really on you that didn't update us. Okay. So hopefully that gives you an idea. Your K1 was approved. How long does it take for NVC to receive it? Congratulations. It takes average less than 1 month, but it doesn't go that quickly, like 1 week. So I would say average 3 to 5 weeks from your case file with USCIS approval to the National Visa Center. On Instagram, you just recently won asylum case. Congratulations on that. That's fairly hard to, of course. I mean, you're telling the truth, but anyway, you know what I mean. You would like to know if you're eligible to file for your wife who is not in your asylum case. So, yes, you can include US. Off the top of my head, I believe the form is I-730. Yes, to include your spouse or your children if you have any children as a derivative of your asylee status. Okay, so you definitely want to do that as soon as possible. Let me see if that's even on the timetable here. We just filed one a couple weeks ago. Well, no, a couple months ago, and it got approved in 1 to 2 months, actually. So much quicker than I thought, because last time I checked the processing time on this. Ooh, okay. Well, we got lucky then, I guess. We're very fortunate. I don't call it luck. We got fortunate. So you're on Instagram, so I can't share my screen to Instagram, but I'm looking on YouTube and Facebook here. Their 80% of cases are completed in 29 months. So for the I-730, they call it the Refugee Asylee Relative Petition. So there's no need for you to wait. You can file it ASAP because it takes 29 months. But if you're in our situation, who knows? You might get approved sooner. I really hope so for you. 29 months. That's ridiculous. Okay. Jack, I see your questions, but you seem to be asking a lot of different cases. So I think the best thing for you, Jack, is to schedule a time because it sounds like you got, I don't know if you know people about, but yeah, in general, you can add people. All right. Yeah, you can add people. You don't want to wait too late. Because you mentioned UV and VAWA. Do you know someone that applied for both, maybe? Whichever. And by the way, that folks, a person can apply for more than one application, okay? But you still need to talk to an attorney to make sure that's possible or advised. Sometimes it's not advised, but generally, it's okay to file 2 different types of applications at one time or soon thereafter. Lucas, what's up? You filed I-130 and 45 together. Okay, great. Concurrent filing. I-130 got approved and you got interview scheduled for 45. No, nothing to worry about. I mean, I'm hoping it's a real marriage, right? But sometimes even when there's a legit bona fide marriage, sometimes the performance at the interview, I want to say performance like it's fake, but you're telling the truth and everything, but the performance at the interview is lackluster, right? You got to promote yourselves, of course, holding yourselves out as spouse, right? If it's a marriage case, I mean, you got to be yourself. But if you're yourself and you're like not holding, not to say you have to hold hands the entire time, but you got to give the right vibe, right? But you got to be able to answer questions, and some people are not able to do that. So we do offer tips on that, where you don't have to hire us full time. We have a lower cost for that. So if you're interested, Lucas, we're happy to help you out if you don't have an attorney. But yeah, interviews, I wouldn't be worried, like Tony says in general. I wouldn't be worried about having an interview in general. I know you see a lot of information out here recently in 2023 that I talk about, like cases being waived. But, I went to one, recall that a couple months ago, I went to one, I have one almost several every month, but one that comes to mind is that one was approved in like 3 months, but they still had an interview. And that's nothing wrong with that. I don't know why they pick some for interview or not when it's smooth in that sense, but yeah, it's fine. I think they're waiving interviews in general to just get back up to speed on reduce their caseload, the backlog. But in general, it's very common to have an interview. So hopefully that helps in that sense. Don't be scared, like I said. Don't be scared. Okay. F1 visa. I'm on TikTok now. Didn't attend college. You apply for asylum and now married to a U.S. citizen. Is it okay to file I-130? Yeah, you can. Yeah, Pum Pum on TikTok. You can file. Your spouse can file I-130. You apply for asylum, but you enter with a visa, so that's good. You could still file it concurrently with the 485. There's several other forms that you can file, not just the 485 and I-130. So give us a follow, DM us. If you have more questions, happy to help. Alrighty. All right, let's see here. Antoinette, I think I saw your other 10/2/23. That's when you filed it. Is that what my question to you was? When you filed your application? Well, that's pretty recent then. Do you mean 10 as in October or 2 as in February? I know in America we do things a lot differently than many other countries. I know that many other countries usually put the date first and then the month second. So I'm assuming that's what you mean. February. So let me put that back in. 485, Milwaukee. Family-based, Milwaukee. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. All right, folks. So by the way, if you're eligible for something and you're pretty sure you're eligible, but you just want to double check, don't wait, folks. Contact our office. We're happy to point you in the right direction. There is no obligation to hire us. Of course, it'll be our pleasure to assist you from start to finish. But if you're just a little concerned to some extent, you're like, I think it might not be as simple. Some of y'all think like, oh, I get married to a U.S. citizen, it's going to be simple, no problem. But as you listened to me earlier, someone mentioned they got NOID, notice of intent to deny on marriage case. We get calls like that almost every day. So let's see here. Antoinette, let me put in February 10th, 2023. But yeah, you'll still definitely be waiting. It still says shown right here. Showing here for February 10th, 2023 receipt date. Your case is still processing normally. The earliest you can submit questions, Antoinette, is October 11th, 2024. I know, super ridiculous. But for anyone else, this is how you do it to find out when you can submit inquiry. Because honestly, you're just going to waste your time if you're calling in and to USCIS hotline thinking that they're going to help you out. They're not going to help you out. I mean, they know some information, but they're not going to submit inquiry for you when your case is still processing normally. And I say waste of time because like you're going to share all this information to verify. They're going to verify who you are, that you're the applicant of this application. And yeah, then they're going to say, oh, your case is still processing normally. So you just could have wasted 30 minutes. So there's a lot you could do in 30 minutes. I wish I had that time to read more books. I read books so that I can improve the law firm, improve our customer service, right? I wish I had the time to read fictional books, but I just don't. I really don't have that time. But if you have a business or you're like some kind of entrepreneur, if you want my list of books that I recommend, please let me know. DM me. We're happy to share it. Let's see. Lucas, great question. Do they treat you fairly when you don't bring a lawyer to an interview? I don't know that, honestly. Well, I kind of do. I mean, I know that some people get fair treatment. When you say fair, I think about it's about respect, right? I think that's really the character, what we're looking at is make sure they're respectful to you. So one tip here off the cuff here, you've got to be confident in yourself. Some people are a little shaky in the boots and you're not confident. So when you appear not confident, you don't want to be like egotistical kind of vibe, but in a sense, like, because if you appear not confident, then a USCIS officer, like if I were one, I would think, is this person lying? So you want to be credible, right? So you got to tell the truth. Not saying you would not, but you got to appear confident when you're telling the truth, because you could still be telling the truth, but not appear confident. And then the USCIS officer is going to be like, something strange here. So I don't know what your nationality is, but I can say, because I'm of Chinese descent, I'm Taiwanese American, the Asian people tend to, when they get asked a question that makes them a little nervous, slightly nervous, or maybe they're not even nervous, right? I say they, but me included. I'm trying to work on this personally every day, but we may put our heads down and or just like giggle. We could do both at the same time. Put our head down and giggle, and the USS officer would be like, "Something's going on here," right? So, just little tips, little things that you should be aware of about yourself personally in terms of confidence. That's that's right, Tony. I guess kind of like any other interview. Remember KISS, KISS. Keep it short, silly. That's a good one. Tony, can I take that from you? Let's see. You say your marriage is real. You're thinking to hire us to come to interview. Where are you at, Lucas? Where's your home base? Yeah, great question. We got like several inquiries yesterday about asking us to show up to the interview. I'll get back to TikTok very soon. Sorry, Maria. But yeah, some people need some assistance, not just like representing at the interview, but some assistance on the updated documentation. Oh, Boston, Beantown. I can use silly or stupid. Thanks, Tony. Appreciate it. Boston, Beantown. Yeah, that'd be cool to go. Did you get your interview date already? Did you? Okay, yeah, you got your interview scheduled. Okay. Oh, so that means it's gonna be cold. I don't know. Maybe I'll ask my associate to go. But we'll talk more, okay, Lucas? Yeah, call us and because part of our representation, okay, folks, for in general, okay, January 9th. Okay, good. It's not January 6th. But the part of representation is to email you, share video clips on preparing you for the interview. Okay. So Lucas or anyone else, you know, we have not offered the video clips for people. We haven't shared it publicly. We only have it for clients that want us to be there at the interview as well, or even people that don't want us at the interview, but they're our current clients. Those are the only folks that have exclusive access to that because we want to give value to our clients, right? So, but that's how we try to save time in terms of your time, because you could be at work and you want to learn stuff in the evening time, but we're not available evening. So that's how we try to accommodate. But of course, even after watching those videos, we invite you to have a meeting with us, with you and your spouse. Sometimes both spouses don't show up, or I mean, one of them. And I was like, this only makes sense to have both. So that's why, worst case scenario, that's why we have the videos, all right, to help out. Because we know some jobs, employers are not that friendly in that sense to give you some time off last minute. Well, that's good, Lucas. You got at least, a month or so to prep. So I can say this, Lucas, one more thing is that make sure you get that updated evidence ready. And they might not even ask you for all the evidence, but you just want it ready, okay, in your folder. Okay, to TikTok. Natalia, I'm sorry. What is the difference to apply for adjustment of status? Married, WHIT. What do you mean by WHIT? With a military spouse is what you mean, maybe? Do you mean like military parole in place or something? If you have a follow-up comment, Maria, can you find hers? What's up, Be Positive? Good to see you. Like your name. Natalia, if you can share us what else you meant, if you had another follow-up to that one. Man, a lot of great questions. Let me see if I can get to most of them. Okay. Let's see. Dr. Ayo. What's up, Doc? You missed your biometrics because you didn't receive appointment letter. What should you do? Okay, so you have you received anything at all, even though it was late? Because you want to make sure you go to the correct office, right? So you can call in to USCIS, but if that takes a hell of a long time, I would just recommend usually going like early in the morning, 8 o'clock, and going to that ASC is what they call it. It likely will not say USCIS office because government likes to subcontract. So they call it Application Support Center. But even then, I don't think it says like ASC. the like signage, right? So you want to make sure you go to the right address. And usually government built type buildings look like brown or something. So you want to make sure you're going to the right office. But you want to bring valid identification. So what we've done, especially during pandemic when notices were late or something, is that just show up. You might not have a date, and I think that's okay. We've had clients be able to just show up to ASC location without an updated biometrics. Now, I don't want to waste your time, right? Like if it's far from you and you want confirmation of a new date, that's fine. But I just want to give you another situation that we've advised our clients that worked. So if it's less than a 30-minute drive, hopefully you can afford that time and try that out. Because the biometrics is needed for criminal background check, and it can delay the production of your residency. I'm sorry, not just residency, but your work permit. So that's why it's important to get that done. Do we do be positive? Do we do EB3, and how about the time and cost? Is it only for students or B1, B2? Can we do EB3? So, for example, if you're here with a visitor visa currently, we're happy to chat with you, even in person. You want to come down to Houston, Texas, come hang out. We'll grab some lunch. But this great Chinatown here. I can talk about that a different day. But if you're here on visitor visa, we don't recommend you staying to apply for the EB3, because EB3 in general, the entire process, regardless of country, aside from visa bulletin, it will take average 2 years, right? So, but we could talk about other temporary visas that you can be here on in the meantime while the EB3 is going on. And no, it doesn't have to be students only. Students is usually like graduate or undergrad. The main thing to think about first is the H-1B, temporary work visa. But yeah, EB3 is for residency, which can be professional, skilled, or unskilled workers. Okay. But yeah, I mean, just be ready that you may have to go back to your country or just be outside the United States in that time period. Let's see. Maria pinned. Rafi, you're a U.S. citizen. You applied for your mom. I-130. Can you add your underage brother? No, you can't. But you can file a separate petition. You're a U.S. citizen, so you can sponsor your brother or sibling. But it's a different application. You can't include it with the one that you filed with your mom for your mom. And it's what we call F4, preference category. F4, okay? When Congress seriously considered immigration reform 2014, I think, 2020, 2012. It's wild. I remember this stuff, but around that time when it was President Obama, the Gang of 8 in Congress, 4 Republican senators and 4 Democrat senators, they were thinking when they were going to do immigration reform, they were considering to get rid of the F4 sibling category because, as you can imagine, they want to cut off the chain migration. Okay, I like to call it the family tree. Okay, building up the family tree, right? But it's all about language. That's how we advocate for our clients, right? We advocate in language for our briefs, our letters to USCIS to explain your situation. Lamar, what does it mean when VAWA case is being transferred to another jurisdiction? It just means that your case is being transferred. Every reason I've seen when a transfer notice is because of balancing caseload, essentially, the limited capacity of a certain service center. So that is not a bad thing. VAWA, if I recall, they were transferring it from Vermont to Nebraska and vice versa. I thought it was ridiculous because a few months ago they changed the initial address to mail to Nebraska Service Center, and then a couple months later, one of our cases got transferred to Vermont, which didn't make any sense. Because you're a green card holder, your spouse's F1 visa, how can you apply for spouse green card? So key thing to know here is that in general, yes, you can file I-130 as a green card holder, resident holder for your spouse. yes, it's good that she's out here on a valid visa. And if she continues going to school, which I recommend, because you don't want her to, if you're going to still maintain being a resident holder, she needs to maintain her non-immigrant visa like F1. The other thing is, excuse my dog. The other thing is because if she fails to maintain status on F1 and you still are a resident holder, that means overstay, right? So then you need to apply for a waiver. And I mentioned waiver earlier, unlawful presence. It's taking 4 to 4 months on average, okay? All right, so, oh boy. Dog, y'all have pets? Y'all have any pets? My dog likes to bark up a storm, but scared. He's a scaredy cat. So hopefully that helps. But I know some of y'all who are resident holders want to sponsor a spouse are not able to are not eligible for citizenship because maybe you just got divorced. So that happens too. And if that happens, you got to wait 5 total years of residency. Okay, excuse my dog. Annie, what's up? You want to get in contact with us? Appreciate it. You can DM us since you're on TikTok, so it's easier. Or you can go to our website, greencardguys.com. All right, greencardguys.com. And my dog is like staring at me like I'm supposed to be doing something. I don't think I have anyone coming right now. All right, folks, I can answer one more question and I have to hop off for a team meeting. Let's see. All right, folks. Oh, Annie, I see your follow-up comment. I think you said you did. Okay. Okay, Annie, this will be the last one. Thank you so much for everyone tuning in to live show. I will be back on tomorrow, I hope. Friday, I will not be live. I will be in court in Dallas, Texas. But Annie's question here, you had your 485 interview and you haven't heard back from immigration. How long ago was it? You said since, so maybe you meant to follow up. Okay, cool. Yeah, get in contact with us. But I would say if it's at least April is now December. Yeah, that's quite a while already. So yeah, let's chat. Okay, it's from April. Okay, thanks for the follow-up. Okay, folks. So yeah, maybe as you might know, mandamus lawsuit. So we'll talk about it. All right, folks. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. Thank you so much for your trust in us, for me to answer your questions. I apologize for those folks that I was not able to answer, but if anything, contact us. You can see it on Facebook and YouTube right up here. And I'll see you tomorrow. Okay. Take care now. Bye-bye.